Okay, next step. After you have established your reasonable offer, what you're going to then roll into is the right negotiation. What do I mean by right negotiation? Well, there are three parts of this. There is a part that I call who. In other words, who are you going to be calling as a cross-promotional potential partner? Do your research here. I didn't just start calling people out of the blue to set up the Los Angeles Times promotion. I didn't even think of Los Angeles Times when I first realized what my reasonable offer was, actually. What I did was like, oh my gosh, I have this grand prize. Well, I wonder who would be interested in running a giveaway for like a big yoga event. And so what I was doing actually was I was Googling things like yoga giveaway, yoga sweepstakes, and seeing what results were already popping up at me. That is very, very important, because if you approach a company with a wacky idea that's out of the blue, Los Angeles Times, for instance, very, very busy company, right? They're doing a lot of stuff already. And if someone wacky calls them up and proposes something that's completely out of left field that they're doing nothing like at all, chances are they're going to be too busy to even consider that, and they're just going to say, nah, no, it's not what we do, and they're going to give you a no, right? But if you approach someone, an organization, that is already running similar promotions to what you have in mind, or that you can tell is already doing such and such a thing that is so complementary with what you're offering that that might be a no-brainer for them, you make it easy on them to say yes. So I Googled these companies that were already running giveaways and sweepstakes. Los Angeles Times' Summer Hot List promotion came up. So all I did when I called up really was I said, hey, I've got a prize for your Summer Hot List, direct me to the right person, right? And so they knew it was something they were already doing, and they knew exactly who was going to handle that for me. So I worked myself right into the system that they already had in place. There wasn't an intense negotiation process going on there. So who you approach is very, very important. If you're a local yoga teacher, for instance, you may have done this on a small scale by approaching like a local Lululemon boutique store. They're already used to supporting local yoga teachers and sponsoring them with clothing and having them into their stores, right? So it's a no-brainer for them to say, oh, wow, you're a local teacher, you're awesome. Okay, great, yeah, here's what we do with you. They already know what they do with you. So look for the right who when you're starting in on the right negotiation for your offer. The next bit is to do with the approach to that who. Okay, approach. What essentially this means is, who do you talk to within that organization? If I knew a friend, actually my neighbor works for the Los Angeles Times, and I had just gone to the neighbor and gone like, hey man, I've got this awesome idea for a thing where I could give a prize, and well, he's in some other department of LA Times, or he probably doesn't even know the Summer Hot List campaign exists, and he's just gonna be like, well, I guess I'll ask around. He doesn't know who to get a hold of. He's not the right person for me to approach with that. What I did is I went for the jugular, the right person to approach. I called them up and said, I need to talk to whoever's in charge of the Summer Hot List, right? So I made sure I was talking to the right person. I approached the right person at the organization. If you don't approach the right person, you're not going to get anywhere. Similarly, when I first started running partnership with nonprofits, I did the same thing. I went to the right person at the nonprofit. I didn't just go to a member or someone who worked printing ads or whatever. When I started working with Big Brothers Big Sisters in Flagstaff, for instance, I knew the CEO of the Flagstaff Big Brothers Big Sisters. So that, even though they may have been nonprofits that I would have rather worked with in a certain sense, it was easy for me to go to BBBS because I knew exactly who to talk there. I knew the CEO, so I was like, I started there. That's a different training. We're going to go into nonprofit partnerships a lot more in a different training here. But just to give you another example of right person to approach. The third component of that right negotiation is the agreement that you put together with that person. Not just who's giving what to who, but the paperwork that goes along with that, right? So very often when you do a partnership or a sponsorship or a cross-promotion agreement with someone, there's going to be a lot of paperwork that you want to have in place to make sure that everyone's filling their end of the bargain and legally you're covered there. And that's really important. If you come to Successful Spirit Summit or enroll in the Successful Spirit online trainings when we have them up and running, we're going to be showing you some good templates of agreements that you can put into place for cross-promotions and for exhibitors and sponsors at local events, and a presenter agreement. I sent out a big presenter prospectus for, I'm very big on getting everything written down in black and white so people know exactly what their follow-through is and what they're committing to and what I am saying that I'm committed to honoring on my part of the bargain as well. So the agreements I can help you guys out with a lot in further trainings. After you've got the right offer, a reasonable offer, and the right negotiation in place, the next step is right execution, right? This is making sure, first of all, that you have the right follow-through. And actually, right follow-through is probably something that you really want to play a lot of thought to when you're actually going over in your head your reasonable offer in the first place, because it has a lot to do with that, right? If I offer a grand prize of like a 3-day all expenses paid trip and then I don't deliver on that, I don't follow through, that's not going to look good for anyone, right? So I need to make sure that I'm able to follow through on my reasonable offer. So, for instance, with the Los Angeles Times, when they drew that giveaway, I was right there on the phone with them saying who won and can I talk to them and when, and they led me through this whole process that I'll describe to you guys in the later trainings, where they were, basically they had to go through this thing with the IRS and this tax form with that person to say, hey, you won this, and here's the legality of that. And at first the person thought that it was like a spammer calling them, so they had a hard time getting a hold of the person to say, no, this is real, we're getting you on a plane to Flagstaff. There was this whole process of follow through on their end that had to happen first. And then, but as soon as I was able to, I got that person's name and phone number and email, and I called them up and I personally welcomed them. I personally went and met them at the airport and personally kind of showed them around the festival. So not only did I follow through on getting that person the prize and get them set up, but I also did something that I think is very important, which is what I call over-delivery. I over-delivered to this person. It was not in any way in my first time offer here that I was going to personally pick them up at the airport or call them, and I think I talked to them on the phone for like an hour one day, just shooting the breeze, finding out about them, and kind of, I held their hands. They were kind of new to yoga, and they were like, I don't know, what am I going to do at this festival? And I helped them pick out their workshops and all of that kind of thing. I went over and beyond what the agreement was there, so that when that person went back to the LA Times, they gave such an amazing testimonial about this giveaway that the LA Times was really happy, you know, that this person had really had a good experience with the grand prize. That made their, you know, subsequent giveaways look much better, and that was what basically my doing, because I over-delivered to that winner, right? Over-delivery can be anything. If you're hosting a kirtan in your home, right, how can you over-deliver to the person you're hosting? Maybe you can take them out for a meal, or maybe you can put up some extra promotion for them for free, or maybe you can say, hey, by the way, I've been playing your kirtan CD for the last week in my studio, and everyone who asked, and I told everyone who you were at the end of every class that I played your kirtan CD at, and here's the email list of everyone who said they were interested in getting a hold of you. I mean, there are so many ways that you can creatively start thinking. Have fun with this, about how to over-deliver on your offer with your cross-promotion. They will love you for it. They'll be more inclined to do more stuff with you. And also, it's kind of an insurance policy. If something doesn't go right, you know, it gives you an incredible amount of sort of social cachet to go back to that person and say, like, hey, I'm sorry. For instance, like with the Los Angeles Times, this didn't actually happen, I'm making this up, but I was like, what if it had rained and we had like LA Times everywhere that we were supposed to be giving out, and all the LA Times got drenched accidentally because a volunteer didn't pick them up or something, right? And so then if I'd have gone back in and said like, hey, this awful thing happened to all your newspapers, so sorry that didn't work out. But then I had this thing of over delivering, I could then say like, but I did pick up the winner at the airport and I did all this other awesome stuff and it was really cool. Chances are they're not going to be too perturbed or put out by the bit that didn't work out, because they know that you're a good person who's really trying hard to serve them and get them a good promotion. So over delivery really helps there too. The last part, of course, is right system. And that is like the third thing under right execution. The right system to have in place. For instance, if you're doing a giveaway and you don't have something like Los Angeles Times at the forefront of that, running that giveaway for you, are there legalities that you have to talk about? Are there things that you have to absolutely tell people entering the giveaway? Yes, there are, a lot of them. And, how do you actually set up something where someone like pops a name and email into a form and comes out the other end building an email list, for instance? You could put something together like that in your community, just as a cross promotion between maybe 20 businesses, right? Spas, massage therapists, yoga teachers, CDs, maybe a little bit of physical product from someone like Lululemon. What if you all pulled together and all emailed each other's lists, so like Lululemon emails their list, you email yours, the Kirtan player emails their list, and says, hey, there's this giveaway, here, opt in here. You could do something like that, but in order to do that, you have to get the opt-in here system in place. There are some legalities you need to think about, and there are some technicalities that you need to think about there. If you're more interested in that kind of level of how to set stuff like this up, definitely expect that we're going to go there in future trainings, both in this series of the mini course and in the Successful Spirit Online trainings. We cover a lot of that kind of stuff, from everything from broad concepts, big picture concepts, painting the picture of everything that needs to take place to make X, Y, or Z happen, like we're doing here, all the way through to here's how you get that opt-in box live. Here's how to paste HTML code on a website. Before that, we even go into stuff like here's how to build a website. And before that, we even go into here's how to design a website. And before that, we even go into things like here's how to buy a domain name and get it hosted and then put a website on that. So we do everything in these trainings, from really minute technical detail to get you started with all sorts of things, from planning an event and setting up room blocks all the way to web development. And then from there we take you all the way through to more strategic, advanced marketing practices like email list building, serving an email list so that you're actually a good guy in those email lists' eyes, not a spammer, right? And everything else that you could possibly want, hope, or think about as far as any aspect of running and marketing your spirituality and wellness business. So stay tuned for more trainings like this. They're coming your way. They'll be in your inbox really soon. I hope this one has served you and inspired you and helped you to strategize and think through a lot of different parts of putting together a cross promotion like this. And we've got more of them coming. If you're interested in learning more of the systematic stuff along with the inspiration, definitely check out our Successful Spirit Online trainings when they get ready and up for sale. And we'll see you again another time. Thanks for joining us.